We'll wait for people to join the chat. All right, we got one person in. We'll wait for people to kind of come on in, and then we'll start talking about the first day of the draft here. Thanks for joining in. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining in. We'll talk about we'll do a little preview of today's draft. I'm sure you guys are very excited. It's a big day for the Giants. Big day, and I think they can do a lot of different things. I've stated this many times in my videos. They're really in a position to do whatever they feel like. I don't think that they're in a position where they have to take any single position. If I were them, I do think the wide receiver position is one in which, in this draft, they should probably come away with at least another wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. But in general, they're in a really good spot. To just take maybe the best player that falls, whether that's Micah Parsons, if Penny Sewell, if he falls, whoever it might be. They're in a good position to just take the best player available that falls, the best player available in general, just overall value. They don't have to go into the draft seeking a certain position, which is what they did last season. I mean, I had no issue with Andrew Thomas at number 4, but we all knew that they went into the draft, and that was left tackle. They needed to find an offensive tackle, whether it was in the first round or if it was in the second. I was a promoter of them taking an offensive tackle in the second round because there was good value at the position. There were many good players available at the offensive tackle position last NFL draft. So I thought, okay, taking a tackle in the first round, smart, but they could also go in the second round and still find good value. But in this draft, they enter and they can do whatever they want. They're in a great position. So in this preview, this NFL draft preview, Giants NFL draft preview, pregame, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to do a live mock draft that I had. I told you guys I would do a final mock draft. Before the draft starts. So we're going to do a live mock draft. So we'll get into all the different things. I'll do my mock draft, and then we'll talk. We'll take questions, whatever topics you guys want to bring up. We'll probably do this for at least a half hour, just to kind of get the conversation going and prep for the upcoming draft tonight. Should be very, very interesting. It seems like a lot of people would like to see the Giants address the edge rusher situation. We'll get into that. We'll get into the wide receiver situation. The draft usually is very deep at wide receivers, consistently every year. Yes, Kwity Paye is one guy who people are talking about a lot. Obviously, we have some people who like him and then some people who don't. We've also heard just about every single rumor possible. I don't want to hear it anymore. I did my last video on that where I was kind of wrapping up some of the rumors I heard, and I said I basically heard everything. Aside from the Giants taking a quarterback, I heard that the Giants love their offensive line, the Giants could improve it, the Giants are going to take Jalen Phillips, the Giants are going to trade up for Penny Sewell, the Giants are going to take Jace Horn, they're going to do this, I can't keep up. Who's right? At this point, I'll be honest with you, I think at a certain point people just make it up. I think at a certain point, people just make some of these things up. How in the world could you hear that many things? How could you hear that many different things? You're essentially saying every possible situation. Oh, well, the Giants could draft a wide receiver or a tackle or an edge rusher or a linebacker or a tight end. You are of no use to me if that's what you're going to continue to put out. It's just rumor after rumor. They like this guy, they don't like him. There's too much. I don't really believe any of them. I do think they put out a fake rumor. It might be fake, but I think that they purposely put out a rumor a few days ago when they said that they were considering trading back. Ian Rappaport reported that, and that was right after the Eagles said that they were going to trade back up, where there was a rumor that the Eagles were going to trade back into the top 10, potentially take Jalen Waddle. So I thought the Giants kind of snuck that out right after the Eagles had said that to, I don't know. kind of a smokescreen, play games, have fun, why not? I mean, you should, in all honesty, you shouldn't believe anything. There's no reporter, there's no person I would believe. I'm not saying someone can't get it right. Maybe there's someone that does predict who the Giants are going to take. But for the most part, draft rumors are just garbage. They really don't mean anything. I remember specifically, I brought up this example once with Zach Cunningham, the linebacker from Vanderbilt. He's with the Texans now. And there was one specific reporter. He's with ESPN. At the time, I don't think he was. And he stated a million times. That was when I had my website. I was doing a lot of writing. I didn't really get into YouTube at that point. And Zach Cunningham, this one beat reporter just kept saying about Zach Cunningham. The Giants love him. The Giants love this guy. If he's on the board, they're going to take him. Well, the Giants didn't take him in the first round. They also didn't take him in the second round. They passed on him twice. So I guess they didn't like him too much. So I don't care. I really, after that, I was like, at that time, I believed a lot of the rumors. I thought, okay, these guys, they have an inside source, this and that. Nope. We've heard many different things. Josh Rosen was going to be the Giants' pick, second overall. That was I think, Art. That was what he heard. There were Jordan Renan, the ESPN reporter. He said that if Josh Allen is there when the Giants pick the edge rusher, that the Giants are going to run to the podium. They took Daniel Jones. They didn't run to the podium for Josh Allen. Although I know that they like Josh Allen, obviously they took a different player. So a lot of these rumors, I'm just saying, just don't look too far into them. They are what they are. Haskins. Good thing the Giants passed on him. Asking for Haskins, wasn't that was the slogan that a lot of people. I quit Twitter. I'm done with Twitter. I don't tweet anymore. But it's so funny how many stupid people are on Twitter. And look, I'm not saying Dave Gettleman is the greatest GM of all time or whatever, but the same group of people who think Dave Gettleman is like the worst front office person in the history of sports, they're also wrong on everything. They think Josh Rosen is going to be, and I like Josh Rosen too, but I'm not sitting here bashing Gettleman every 5 seconds for every single thing that he does. But there's just some people on Twitter who just everything is they're wrong on everything. If it were up to them, the Giants would have either Josh Rosen or Dwayne Haskins as their quarterback, or maybe not as the quarterback because they would have been off the team at that point. And Odell would still be, the highly paid wide receiver, and they would be winning 3 games a year and with no future, with no prospect at quarterback. And again, I'm not saying Gettleman is perfect, but for the people that criticize him every 5 seconds, geez, if you were GM, the team would be in a way worse position. So that's that. All right, so I'll do my mock draft. How's it going? Okay, so with my mock draft, I'm just going to go and go 3 tries. Really not a 7-round mock draft because the Giants only have 6 rounds worth of picks. They don't have a 5th-round pick. They have 2 6th-round picks. And we'll start with their 1st-round pick. So my 1st-round pick for the Giants would be Jalen Waddle. They could go in so many different directions. And, what people need to get, which I think people lose a lot with Twitter. I think people lose a lot with Twitter when it comes to there may be a player that you thought that the Giants should take, and just because they don't take him, that doesn't make it a bad pick, just because they picked a different player. Jalen Waddle would be my pick if he's there, but that doesn't mean that another player can't be a good pick. So there are going to be many good options for the Giants at 11. I like Rashawn Slater. If Micah Parsons is there, it's going to be tough. I do think, though, the Giants, they can't mess around a wide receiver. They don't have to take a wide receiver in the 1st round, but they can't mess around at that position because if Kenny Golladay is hurt for any period of time, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in a tough spot because they really don't have. I like Darius Slayton, but if he's your wide receiver 1, Sterling Shepard, you can't trust his health. He's more of a slot receiver. He's not going to create many big plays. You're in trouble. You are. You're in trouble. That's it. So do you want to be in that spot where Daniel Jones does not have enough weapons? I wouldn't take the risk. I would take a wide receiver. So if I'm the Giants at 11, I'm going to take Jalen Waddle if he's there. Now in the 2nd round, okay, they have the 42nd overall pick, Missouri linebacker Nick Bolton. I did a mock draft about Nick Bolton a few weeks ago. Just one of my favorite players, just doing some research, watching some video. He's just a football player. I know that sounds like such a blanket, boring statement, but he is. Instinction. You can just tell with the instincts and his ability to run around man, does he hit people. He's just kind of an old school linebacker, a thumper, a good run defender, a good tackler. And I know that they have Blake Martinez, who is kind of that. And they could go in more of a direction of finding a better pass coverage kind of linebacker, which I love linebackers who can cover well. But Nick Bolton, I feel like he's going to be a guy that's just going to be tough to pass on if he's still there in the second round. Guy's a stud. Guy is a stud, old school linebacker, a thumper. I don't know. I don't know if I could pass on him if he's in the second round from the Giants. That would really just add another really solid football player to your defense. And we'll get into the Giants' defense and their pass rush specifically and how they should attack this draft when it comes to edge rushing options and pass rushing options in general. Tommy Tugiela? I'm so bad with names. The Ohio State defensive lineman is my pick in the third round. He's known to be a very good run defender. They're going to have to find someone to replace Dalvin Tomlinson, who is a very good run defender. So you take a guy in the third round like Tugiela, Ohio State defensive tackle. You take him in the third round. Very good run defender ability. There's some upside for him as a pass rusher. With Danny Shelton, maybe Danny Shelton can teach him his ways in run defending. A very good run defending defensive lineman himself. You have B.J. Hill, who can rush the passer well. Leonard Williams, obviously a great pass rusher. Dexter Lawrence coming along. So you have a really you have a group of defensive linemen who can do multiple things. You have guys who can rush the passer very well, guys who can run, who can stop the run very well. So that's my pick in the third round. And then Shaka Toney would be my fourth round pick, the Penn State edge rusher. Sean Spencer and his connection, the Giants' defensive line coach, Sean Spencer, his Penn State connection, I do think the Giants are going to take someone from Penn State, especially on the defensive side of the football, somewhere in this draft. They seem to always go in the direction of a player from Georgia, whether that is Lorenzo Carter, DeAndre Baker, Andrew Thomas. I do think that there is a college connection, and I do think that they brought some of these coaches over, these college coaches, to get more information on the college game, especially with the pandemic. So with limited access to players, you bring in these college coaches who may have watched these players in person, or they just have different connections. They have different people that they can reach out to and get information from. So Shaka Toney, he is, if I'm saying his name right, I'm really terrible with names, so I apologize. But if he is there, I think he's an interesting prospect, talented player, edge rusher, but sometimes people say that maybe he's not. I don't know. Talented player, fourth round pick. A Penn State guy, and I think that's, again, I think they're going to take someone on the defensive side of the football from Penn State. I think they're going to use the Sean Spencer connection, former Penn State guy, to take one of his guys, one of his former guys. We're going to go in the sixth round with John Bates, the Boise State tight end, can run block a little bit, can catch some passes. I think the Giants need to find more of an all-around tight end. That's why I've kind of been against, I don't want to say been against, Kyle Pitts, I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player, but after seeing Evan Ingram, after seeing some of these first-round tight ends, are supposed to be these amazing pass catchers, do they really make... look, a good receiving tight end does make a difference, but I just think a lot of times some of these talented young tight ends get overhyped a little bit. He could be a very good receiver. I'm not questioning that, but is he an actual tight end? Can he block? Can he be a normal, traditional tight end? We've watched for years Evan Ingram. We thought, the mismatch on the linebacker, on the safety, on this is going to be, he's going to exploit it. Did he really exploit it that much? Was it that game-changing? Did it change the dynamic of the Giants' offense? No, it didn't. I'm not saying that can't be the case with Kyle Pitts, but I would rather go in a more all-around tight end direction if I were the Giants. So John Bates is my first sixth-round pick. They have two sixth-round picks. My Boise State guy, and then Kylan Hill, Mississippi State running back. I do think the Giants need, and he would be the final pick, their sixth-round pick. I do think the Giants need to take a running back in this draft. A little bit of depth, younger guy. Not saying he needs to take over for Saquon Barkley. They obviously just picked up Barkley's fifth year. Evan Ingram joined the chat. Look at this. Evan Ingram joined the chat. It's crazy. The Giants obviously picked up the fifth-year option on Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is obviously their guy, but why not take a flyer on running back later in the draft? Once you're in the sixth round, you're just taking flyers. Simple as that. Everyone has kind of a different preference. Usually you kind of want to take someone who's talented, and then you see what happens. So that is my mock draft. I'll go over it again. First round, Jalen Waddle. Nick Bolton in the second round, linebacker from Missouri. Tommy Tugioa, defensive lineman from Ohio State. Shaka Tony, the edge rusher from Penn State. John Bates, Boise State tight end. And Kylan Hill, the Mississippi State running back. That is my mock draft. First round through the 6th round, no 5th round pick. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. I think that's a fairly impactful mock draft. They could really go in so many directions in the first round. It's going to be exciting to really to watch this draft because I have no idea what they're going to do. And I think anything that they do, I don't see how anyone can really complain with it. I think it would be kind of weird to take a corner. I've heard Jace Horn, the Giants like a lot. I wouldn't take another corner. I don't know. At this point, in the first round, you have Adoree Jackson. You have you obviously have James Bradbury. Darnay Holmes is a nice slot corner option. If someone gets hurt, Jason McCourty is still out there. They obviously brought him in, and he worked out with the Giants, and apparently they liked what they saw, so it looks like he can still play. And 2 years ago, he was still a very good player. Had like a 55 passer rating allowed. So I think they'll be fine at corner and in the secondary, and I know the first round is a long-term pick, obviously. It's not just for the 2021 season, but I think that they can go in another direction. If you get a wide receiver, if you get Jalen Waddle with Kenny Golladay and Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard, Saquon Barkley comes back, you are putting your franchise young quarterback, Daniel Jones, in a spot where if he doesn't succeed, then he's not the guy. It's simple as that. Unless the offensive line is just terrible and he's getting sacked every 5 seconds. But you're putting him in a position where it's almost like if he doesn't succeed with that group of players, it's not going to work out and you should find a new quarterback. So they're in a great spot to potentially trade their pick, trade back. I do think that there may be a quarterback that falls to that spot. And all of a sudden, a team that might be in the 20s or the late teens or wherever, maybe a team that already picked and they said, wow, Mac Jones is still available, just giving a player name. Mac Jones is still available. Oh, the Giants have the 11th pick. Oh, the Giants don't need a quarterback. Let's trade up for that pick. Let's see what we can. If I were the Giants, let's see what we can get from this team for this pick. They obviously want a franchise quarterback. They're available. You never know what you might get. So perfect position for them. I do like Rashawn Slater. Before the draft process, I will say. AVT, yeah, I saw a report on that, how they like him. I'm not opposed to them taking I'm not opposed to them adding another tackle. I do like Rashawn Slater because of his ability to kick inside. So I think I really do like Rashawn Slater. I think he would be a really nice pick for the Giants there, but I don't think that they can really go wrong with too many players. I think there's going to be, they're picking 11. Okay, so there's good value. There's good value there in general. There's going to be a player that it might fall. I think Christian Barmore is another player to keep an eye out for. I don't know. I really do think that he is the underrated pick for the Giants in the first round. Christian Barmore, the defensive lineman from Alabama. Because think about it. They just signed Leonard Williams. They have him for the next 3 years. They still have Dexter Lawrence as long as they pick up the 5th-year option for another 3 years. If you take Christian Barmore, then you have him for at least 4 more years plus a 5th-year option. I'm 25, by the way. So then you have your defensive line set easily for the next 3 years. Obviously a very talented player that you expect to be two-way, be able to rush the passer, be able to stop the run well. And then if you could control the line of scrimmage on the defensive line with 3 players like that and essentially just dominate the opponent on the defensive line, that makes everything a lot easier for Lorenzo Carter, for O'Shane Ximenez, for Fadi Adenabo, and anyone else who they decide to add over the next few years, or if they decide to go in the 2nd or 3rd round and take an edge rusher. They're in a spot where, again, it makes it a lot easier for your edge rushers if you can control the line of scrimmage. So that is one interesting, I think that's the most underrated dark horse pick is Christian Barmore, the Alabama defensive tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if they took him I wouldn't. But like I said, I do like Rashawn Slater. I do like Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, obviously, Micah Parsons. Those are the big names at this point for the Giants. Obviously, Jalen Phillips, Kwity Paye, Jason Owe, some of those guys. Would 11 be too early for Barmore? You could make the case it's too early, but I do think that is a dark horse pick. I think that is a pick a lot of people may not be talking about, but I don't know. I have a feeling he feels like a Dave Gettleman pick. Like Christian Barmore feels like a Dave Gettleman pick. I don't want to be like the guy that's like, all right, I want to make a prediction, and if I get it right, I'm a genius, and I knew something. I don't know anything. I'm just saying I feel like Christian Barmore is a Gettleman pick, and I think he is the dark horse pick. All the other names, they're big names, and they're good players. That's the one guy that I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't if they took him in the first round. So again, great spot to trade back. Remember this too, okay? The Giants were 10th in pressure percentage last year. They were 32nd in pass rush win rate. 32nd. They were last in pass rush win rate, which tells me that they didn't have much talent. Their talent rushing the passer was not very good last year, which that's what happens when Carter gets hurt. That's what happens when Zimenez gets hurt. You get two guys who you think are going to be legitimate contributors, and they're hurt. You trade Marcus Golden, and then all of a sudden, you're left with adding Jabal Shear, Nico Lalos, Kyler Fackrell mixing in here and there. I believe he was hurt at some point last year too. So they dealt with a ton of injuries, which is why their pass rush win rate was so low, was last, because there wasn't that much talent, a lot of injuries. But they were 10th in pressure percentage. So that goes to show they were able to scheme together a pass rush. If I'm the Giants, I'm not scared to... I don't... My thinking on this has changed dramatically because last year I thought, going into free agency of last year, I thought the Giants need an edge rusher. They need like a dominant edge rusher. Or they need to be able to draft a Nick Bosa kind of guy. And now, after watching what Patrick Graham did, what Joe Judge, Patrick Graham, Dave Gettleman, what everyone together, their group there, what they were able to do to scheme to, and the rest of their coaches, what they were able to do to scheme together a pass rush with the 10th best pressure percentage on a team that really didn't have they had a lot of injuries, and they were last in pass rush win rate, and they were able to do what they did. That gives me a lot of confidence where I don't think they have to take Kwity Paye or Jalen Phillips or any edge rushing option in the first round. I don't think that they have to do that. I think they're just going to piece it together, and I think they would be fine. I really do. I think they would be fine. Last year changed my mindset completely. They were able to scheme together a pass rush, and that's what Gettleman talked about. He talked about that before last season, how the Giants were going to scheme together a pass rush, and it's a cute idea. When you hear it, oh yeah, just scheme together, do this, do that. And then they did it. They actually went out and they did it. Kwity Paye is a guy who I've seen some people in this chat really like, and then some people don't at all. So Phillips, see, look, that's another thing. So maybe with that 11th pick, they trade it. They trade back, they move back, and then they take a Jalen Phillips at the end of the first round. Maybe they gain another second-round pick, and they're able to take Jalen Phillips. I don't know, but if I'm the Giants, I'm comfortable not taking an edge rush in the first round. I don't think that is as big of a need as people think it is. I think a lot of people think the Giants really need to take an edge rusher like high in the draft, first round. And the more I've looked into it, the more I watched last year, I think that they could actually be just fine if they took an edge rusher in the third round and a talented player who you put in here, you put in there in that situation, different pass rushing situations, you use them to the best of their ability. I think it would be just fine. I'm sure you guys saw something similar to what I saw last year. We'll quickly talk about their offensive line. They were last in pass block win rate. Not good. Okay, you don't want to be last. So last in pass block win rate, yeah, that's not good. But they also had a young offensive line. You're going to obviously see Andrew Thomas, second year. I think Matt Parrott, he's going to get more reps. Nate Solder is there now. He's available. Will Hernandez, not a great pass blocking guard, but very good run blocking. He was one of the best run block win rate guards in the NFL last season. Andrew Thomas was one of the best run block win rate left tackles in general. So, they've established a pretty solid group of run blocking offensive tackles, but you got to be able to pass block in today's NFL. So there needs to be improvement there. A lot of young players. Nick Gates seems to be a nice player. The right guard position is the one position in which they are going to, they're either going to have to mix and match, or they're going to take, maybe they take a Rashawn Slater in the first round. Maybe in the second round they decide to go in another direction. So they can certainly improve on the offensive line. They can certainly add another player. Before this draft process, I was actually against them taking an offensive tackle in the first round. I thought, okay, you took Thomas last year, 4th overall. You took Matt Peart in the 3rd round. You took Will Hernandez in the 2nd round a few years ago, not too long ago. Obviously, Nate Solder was getting paid a lot of money. They were able to restructure his deal. Kevin Zeitler was getting paid a lot of money, and they obviously got rid of him. And I'm thinking, do you want to spend another high resource? Do you want to spend another high resource on the offensive line? Not that it's not important. We know that the offensive line is important, but there are other positions on your team too. You don't want to invest too much into one area specifically. That name was escaping me, Wyatt Davis, the guard from Ohio State. Maybe Wyatt Davis, a player like that, in the 2nd round or the 3rd round, wherever he might be, seems to be a nice option for them. They don't have to take an offensive lineman in the 1st round, a right guard. Sorry, I'm out of the picture. I've been out of the picture this entire video. They don't have to take a guard in the 1st round, but a player like Slater or maybe a player like Wyatt Davis in the 2nd round. So they can certainly improve on the offensive line. And let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the passing offense. The Giants' passing offense, okay? Last year they averaged 6.5 yards per attempt. That's not going to cut it, okay? They were 31st in overall offensive EPA and passing EPA, expected points added. They were around 28th or something. Bad. Okay, they were just bad. Simple as that. Who cares? Bad is bad. So you don't want to take the risk going into another season where you can't score points in 2021. You got to start scoring points, and this has obviously been an issue for the Giants for years and years and years and years. They don't score points. They just don't. It's been like that since 2015 was a nice season for them offensively, and then after that, 2016, they were not very good. 2017, abysmal. 2018, not very good. 2019, not good. 2020, not terrible. They were terrible. So at some point, you have to be good on offense, unless your defense is just disgusting. Okay, if you have a 2015 Broncos, 2013 Seahawks, 2000 Ravens, maybe the Giants will have that. I don't know. They have a nice group of players on defense, but that's not what you want to rely on. You don't want to rely on your defense being all-time great in order to win football games. You want to have a good offense in 2021. I think that they just can't go wrong with taking a wide receiver in the 1st round, because I think everything else is pretty good. I think that they're pretty good in every other spot. They have to let their offensive line develop. Happy draft day. They have to let their offensive line develop. You have some young players. Andrew Thomas, Peart, Will Hernandez is getting older. Nick Gates' 2nd season at center. Maybe Shane Lemieux is their guard. We'll see if Zach Fulton. We'll see what happens there. But it's a group that you still have to let them kind of grow. As much as you want instant results, even if you do take a player like Slater or Wyatt Davis, it's still a group that is young. They're going to have to grow, and there's going to be growing pains. That's part of the process. You can't just expect them to be an all-pro offensive line group right away. They're young players. There's going to be growing pains, even in the kind of the 2nd year of this truly rebuilt young offensive line. But I think you have to give Daniel Jones as many weapons as possible and just go all out. Just go all out. If Jalen Waddle, if Devontae Smith, if one of those players is there, I would have to, if I were the Jets, would have to take him over Micah Parsons. I'd have to do that. If he's available. If Rashawn Slater's there, I'd still probably go. If I had to choose, I'd probably still go with wide receiver. You don't want to do what you did last year. The Giants, I would be comfortable with the Giants right now with their defense. I think many of you would too. I think the Giants rolled out this current group. Let's say there's no draft. They just draft all offensive players this entire draft class. I think most of you would be fairly comfortable with this Giants defense. I'm not saying you think they're going to be amazing, but they were good last year, and they just pieced things together with like waiver wire kind of players at the edge position, which a lot of people, like myself, I thought that would be, you got to have a dominant edge rusher. Well, they didn't, and they were able to get a pass rush, and they were able to be a good defense. They got depth in the secondary as long as everyone stays healthy. They got a nice defensive line. Your main worry is the offense, and you have to come away in the first couple of rounds with a playmaker that can help Daniel Jones. Specifically, I think a wide receiver, you can't go wrong. I just don't think you can go wrong. If you have Jalen Waddle and Kenny Galladay and Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard, and you could say that they're coverage sacks, that means that people were covering very well. They have a good secondary. That's the thing. The Giants have a good secondary. And they added another good piece. So, all right, let's look into some chats. I've talked for 31 minutes, and I haven't really answered any questions or talked about any topics that you guys have brought up for the most part. Pitts, yeah. What's the difference between Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts? I don't want to be disrespectful to Kyle Pitts. I don't want to say that he's Evan Ingram, okay? But I don't know. If I'm the Giants, that is not a player at the top of my list. I cannot take the chance of taking another player who is so similar in style. With the 11th overall pick, I wouldn't do it. And I know people are going to say, well, Pitts isn't even going to last that long. And if he's there, then that's great value. I don't care. I wouldn't take him. He's not a tight end, in my opinion. Trade Jones and Barkley for the Jets' second overall pick. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Someone went to high school but Kwity Paye. That's cool. Trust the Giants coaching staff after last year? You should. You should. They have a good coaching staff. Trading down, getting more picks in a post-COVID year. Again, I think that is a very valid option, and I don't think anyone should be opposed to that. I am 25 years old. I think I answered that question. Someone says, love having these options. Yeah. It's just such a different type of atmosphere than last year. As I said, last year it was like left tackle. Everybody was talking about the Giants need a left tackle. They need a left tackle. I was a little bit more conservative on that. I thought, okay, they do need a left tackle. But maybe in the second round, Austin Jackson, a player like that, second round pick. A lot of people did not like that idea. They obviously took Andrew Thomas at 4 because they really needed an offensive tackle. Apparently they tried trading back. Didn't get it done, but look, I think Thomas will be a nice player. Parsons is crazy good. Yeah, Parsons, good run defender, good tackler, known to be very good blitzing. So helps kind of their pass rush, scheming together a pass rush. Parsons is obviously one of the more talented players. One of the more talented players in the draft, and he's been a name that people have talked about for like over a year now. He's been a big name. Pitts is like Plaxico Burress. Yeah. If we have any more topics, any more questions, I've been talking for a long time. I want to get your guys' input. If he's not a tight end, speaking about Pitts, but more of a receiver, and you're down with taking a receiver, why not take him if he falls? Because is he able to transition to the wide receiver position? That is what I wanted Evan Ingram to do. I wanted the Giants to really make him more of a wide receiver, and they never really did. He played some slot here and there. 2018, he played a decent amount of slot snaps. But why not just take a wide receiver at that point? Why not just take a wide receiver at 11 if you're going to take a tight end and then convert him to a wide receiver? Parsons is your guy? Yeah, I think Parsons is a lot of people's guys. I think Parsons would be a great value pick. That's a player that who has been talked about for well over a year. I've heard his name. Can't take an edge at 11. Yeah, I don't think that they have to do it. I just think that it's been someone that a spot in the draft a lot of people have talked about. Giants need an edge rusher, first round. I think they're just going to piece it together, and I think they'll be fine. I don't think they'll be fine, though, if they don't have any wide receivers or if they don't have any playmaking ability. I don't think they're going to be fine. I think they'll be fine at edge rusher either way, especially if Zimenez and Carter are healthy. I think they'll be fine. I'm very worried, though, if Galladay's hurt or if they're not getting production at wide receiver, they're not going to be fine. And by the way, let me also add this. So Odell Beckham, right? I think some people might bring this up. Well, why would they trade Odell? If you're saying, wide receiver, they need him so bad, they need a wide receiver so badly. Why were you for them trading Odell? Well, because Odell was injury prone. Odell made a ton of money, overpaid. Okay, and he's a disaster. Who wants to deal with that? I'd rather take a wide receiver in the first round, pay him less. He's productive. I don't have to deal with the headache, and hopefully they're not injury prone. So yeah, I still support trading Odell. It was a great trade, in my opinion. Third-round wide receiver, yeah. I think that would be a great spot for them. Slater, yeah, I think... what I also like about Slater is the versatility, the ability to play tackle and guard. That fits exactly what... that really is kind of like the big thing with Joe Judge and the current New York Giants is the versatility aspect. For any player, especially you have an offensive lineman who can play tackle, he can play inside at guard. Smith being injury prone at 160 pounds, I guess we'll have to see. Maybe he's not physically built for the NFL. We will have to see. But Odell, after like 4 years of watching it, you kind of knew what you were getting in terms of his injury situation. You had 4 years of it, or 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 5 years of it. And then he was traded. So you knew you had a long list of facts and information on Odell's injury history. He also plays center. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a ton of versatility with Slater. Ton of versatility. I think you gotta love that. Why is everyone focused on wide receiver when we have Shep, Slayton, and now Galladay? Well, here's the thing. Galladay, the reason why I think some people were kind of about Galladay, about the Giants signing him, was his injury situation. There's been situations. There's been injury situations with him. There's certainly an injury-prone kind of discussion that you can have. So... yeah, you could make that case. That's the only thing is if you don't have him available, Slayton is not a number one wide receiver. And I don't think Jones is at the point in his career where he's going to carry your offense. I just don't think that he's at that point. I think many of you would agree with that. We still have to figure out if he's the Giants guy moving forward. This is a huge year for him. This is make or break without question. And Shep, yeah, I think that's a very good point. Sterling Shepard could be gone very soon. I mean, he's in what? This would be his third year of the contract extension. I'd have to look at his contract situation. But yeah, I mean, Sterling Shepard could be gone. I'm pretty sure he could be gone fairly soon without a big cap hit if they cut him. So taking a wide receiver in the first round, I think a lot of people think, well, they have a good group of wide receivers. Well, yeah, there's a potential out after this upcoming season. He has 2 years left after this year, so there's certainly an opportunity to move past Sterling Shepard. So taking a wide receiver in the first round should not be something at this point that is anything crazy or bad or anything like that. I want to thank you guys again, everyone, for joining the chat. We're starting to get some people in. We got 87 people. A nice pregame NFL Giants draft. preview. Most of you probably missed my mock draft. I did it earlier in the in this chat. I did a live mock draft. I told you guys. I feel like I say a lot of things and that sometimes I forget to do them. But I did tell you guys that before this draft, I would give you a real 7-round mock draft who I thought that they should truly go out and draft. Guys, that they should really go out and draft. Because I did a lot of videos of mock drafts, and it was basically just to learn more. So we can learn more about this class. A lot of people would comment and be like, why would you take that guy? So-and-so was available. I'm like, that's not the point. We're just trying to learn more about the class. So my mock draft, my final mock draft, 6-round mock draft, because the Giants don't have 7 picks, or 7 into the 7th round. They do have 2 6th-round picks and no 5th-round pick. So Jalen Waddle was my first-round pick for the Giants, the wide receiver, Alabama. Obviously, you guys know a little bit about him. Nick Bolton was my second-round pick, the Missouri linebacker. I like him a lot. True old-school thumper of a linebacker. He's just fun to watch. If you guys haven't done too much on him, too much research, or maybe you don't know too much about him, look him up. Just watch some YouTube videos, and I think you'll fall full-bloom love, as Dave Gettleman would say. Tommy Togiyawa, the Ohio State defensive lineman. I like that pick in the 3rd round. Shaka Toney, the edge rusher from Penn State. The Sean Spencer connection. I do think they're going to take a Penn State defensive player. The Sean Spencer connection, him being a coach at Penn State, I think you're going to see that in this draft. I really do believe they're going to use some of their college coaching connections. That's another part of many of their college coaching hires. I think they're trying to build a college atmosphere in terms of team first, not so much about the me, but the we, right? Us as a team. But I think you bring on a lot of college coaches. They have a little bit more inside information, different contacts and connections, and it's tough when you have the COVID situation. You may not have access to all these players and have seen as much as you'd like. So you bring in these college coaches. They have a little bit more information, and they can possibly help you out. 6th-round pick, the first 6th-round pick, John Bates, Boise State tight end, more of an all-around tight end. That's something the Giants need. Evan Ingram, don't really trust him at the tight end spot. You have Kyle Rudolph as well. He's available for the Giants. 6th-round pick, Kylan Hill, the running back from Mississippi State. I think the Giants are going to take a running back at some point in the draft, and I think that's smart. And a little bit of depth, a young player, some young legs, you bring him in, and you see what kind of depth, if he can make the team or not. Obviously, a 6th-round pick, you'll have to see. He'll have to work his tail off to see if he can make the New York Football Giants. So that is my mock draft. Any other comments, discussions, things that you've heard? Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's a huge trade or a bong mask that somebody wore. A video. I don't know. Am I missing anything? I don't have Twitter anymore. Yes, I'm almost at 3,000 subs. That would be awesome if you guys can help me just get to that spot. You guys are the best, honestly. Oh, Washington football team in Atlanta in very serious talks. Swapping first-round picks. That's interesting. If we can get more information on that, I'll have to check that out. If you guys have any other information, pop in the chat. So we'll see what we got. Thank you, John Solomon. I appreciate it. Josh Solomon. I apologize for that. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the support. How would I feel about a cornerback in the 1st round? I talked about this a little bit earlier. Look, you spent good money on 2 of your starting corners, Bradbury and Adoree Jackson, to then take another corner in the 1st round. It's a pass-happy league. I don't think you could ever go wrong by having too many defensive backs, quality cornerbacks, but I think that they can find a little bit more value at another position. I think that they can find a nice offensive lineman, a nice receiver, a player like Micah Parsons who is talented but falls and slides a little bit. I think that you can go in another direction. Would it be a bad pick? No. I think that they're in a nice spot to just take best player available, the best player who they think is the best available. I don't really like the word reach that much. Sometimes it's just confusing, the word. What is reach? Is it depending on what? Mel Kiper's big board? Who cares? Some players are valued differently on different boards. That's how it goes. I know Dave Gettleman mentioned he hopes all the quarterbacks get taken before the Giants, that they're, it's just the best players available. So, let's see if we got anything else. I'm going to use the web browser version of Twitter to see if I can find any information. I don't have an account, so I'll just look up some accounts on their search bar here. Oh, huge news. Huge news. Byron Pringle just signed with the Chiefs. Okay. Do I think Washington is taking a quarterback? I think at some point, look, I think that they could have gone in another direction with the Chase Young pick. I know a lot of people think that's kind of... I don't know. I thought that I thought they should have taken a quarterback. With Ron Rivera taking over, he just had a situation in Carolina where Cam Newton had injury situations and then kind of tailed off. He had an opportunity to take Tua or Justin Herbert. He had some legitimate franchise quarterback options at 2. Chase Young is an enticing player. I get it. I understand. But if I had the option to take my future franchise quarterback at 2 or Chase Young, I don't know. I think I would have gone with the quarterback. At least I feel like I found someone at the most important position. I think I can find a good edge rusher. Maybe not Chase Young, but I can find a good one. And now they're in a position, Washington, where, I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. I do. I think that was a great pickup. But now you're wondering who is your franchise quarterback, and are you going to have an opportunity, unless you trade, years of draft picks in order to move up in this draft or another draft, wherever it may be, are you going to have an opportunity to take your franchise quarterback? So I would have actually taken a quarterback if I were Washington last year. I love Twitter. No, I don't. I have to check. I had to check it though. I had to look it up. I have to look up some information. I don't really have any other means of information at this point, boys. But if you guys have any information, pop it in the chat. Let me know. Let me know what you see. Kellen Mond. I like Kellen Mond. I think the Giants are going to take. I think they should take a quarterback in the mid rounds. With Jones's injury situation and the value of the quarterback position, the Giants don't have to take a quarterback in the first round and take a chance on a first-round pick and use a first-round pick on a quarterback. But I think it would be wise to use a draft pick in the mid-rounds on a quarterback and see what happens. It's the most important position. You might as well take the chance. Twitter is toxic. Yeah, Twitter's garbage. It's so annoying because you try and take Twitter seriously. You try and put out good information and all that. But it's just, there's so much other garbage. There's no good conversations. It's just everyone who just sits there and then pulls up old tweets from 4 years ago about something that you said. And it's like, all right, well, what if I already talked about that and I discussed it and I said that I changed my mind, or I found it, I have a new outlook on it. I have new information and I decided that I was wrong, whatever it might be. It's just like, it's such garbage. I found myself arguing so much on Twitter. I'm like, why am I wasting this much energy? But unfortunately, sometimes I have to go on the web browser and I have to find different accounts to find information. There's really not many other sources of quick information. It is what it is. It's just there's a limited supply of outlets. Playmaker, Waddle, Smith, those are the two big guys. I think those are the two favorites among the Giants fan base. I think that they love those guys, and you should. Those would be really nice picks for them. Rodgers doesn't want to be with the Packers. I saw that. That's crazy. He doesn't want to be with the Packers. I don't know if that's a negotiating tactic. Maybe he's just saying that so it scares the Packers, and the Packers say, oh, wow, Aaron Rodgers just publicly said he wants to leave. The Packers, we got to go out. We got to sign him. We have to give him a contract extension. I know he wants more money. He wants a bigger deal. Who is this Ding guy? He's just posting like spaces in this comment section. All right, Ding, we get it. Space. Nothing. There's nothing there. All right, awesome. Okay. I think it's more of a negotiating tactic, in all honesty, with Rodgers, what he's doing, seeing what the Packers do. I think that's kind of what Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson came out and said he wanted to leave the Seahawks, or he was so disgruntled. And then the Seahawks are going to do whatever they can to make sure that they make him happy. It's kind of a smart negotiating tactic. It's going to be interesting what they see what they do with Jordan Love as their backup, as their former first-round pick. Andrew Thomas, yeah, Rodgers to the Niners. That would be nasty. I was off the Rodgers boat last year. Prior to last year, you looked at the analytics. He really wasn't as special as he had been for a couple of years. He really didn't play that well. No, I know the Seahawks didn't draft Jordan Love. I'm saying the Packers. I'm saying the Packers drafted Jordan Love, and now Aaron Rodgers wants a contract extension. What do you do with that situation? But I'm saying with the Seahawks is Russell Wilson used his leverage, kind of complained, and there was different sources, rumors are put out there, and then I think the Seahawks kind of just were like, all right, we'll do whatever we need to do in order to keep you. All right, please don't leave us, or don't want to leave us. Rodgers to the Niners would be nasty. Would be nasty. So we've basically covered most of the topics that I wanted to talk about. We did our mock draft. We did all those different things. I'll just end the chat here. A nice 51-minute chat. Thank you so much for joining. You guys are the best. Remember, if you can, support our sponsor, Manscaped. It's the first sponsor this channel's ever had, and it's thanks to you guys, because you guys are awesome, and you guys helped build this channel up, and we have a sponsor now. The promo code is BBU. Big Blue on Buys, BBU. You get 20% off plus free shipping on anything on manscaped.com. If you guys can support them, would be outstanding. Rodgers to Denver, that actually is the Peyton Manning thing. Just like John Elway recruited Peyton Manning, maybe he recruits in a legal way. I guess you can't be tampering or anything like that, but brings Aaron Rodgers to Denver. Can't wait to shave your balls after this. Go get the Lawnmower 3.0, manscaped.com, 20% off plus free shipping. The promo code BBU. Why wouldn't you do that? Smith size, yeah. Devontae Smith, Sonoris Moss. That's an interesting reference. Remember him? Sonoris Moss. That's a throwback. Yeah. We'll see. Devontae Smith is definitely a smaller receiver. That's a legitimate worry. We'll see if he's able to stay healthy and take the beating of being in the NFL. It ain't easy. I think that's one thing that hurt Evan Ingram big time is he is legitimately the smallest tight end in the NFL. He really is. He's not physically made to be a tight end, and I think that led to a lot of injuries the earlier part, not last year, but the years prior. And I physically don't think he's built for the position. So Devontae Smith, you could make that argument. Maybe he's just too small. We'll see. We'll have to watch. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining this chat. Enjoy the draft. I'll be back. I'll probably have a video right after the Giants pick. And then we'll have something hopefully tomorrow, maybe kind of like a film room type thing to get to know whoever the Giants picked. So thanks again, guys.